Captain Jin Park walked through the halls of Harmony Prime Station. The metal walls gleamed under bright lights. Alien delegates moved past him, their strange shapes casting odd shadows. Some had 4 arms, others had scales instead of skin. A few floated in the air, using technology he did not understand. Jin Park wore his simple blue uniform. The Earth symbol on his chest seemed small compared to the grand decorations other species wore. He carried only a basic tablet and a communication device. Other delegates had floating screens and robot assistants following them. The Galactic Council chamber was huge. Thousands of seats rose up in circles around a central platform. Representatives from 48 different species filled the room. Their voices mixed together in a strange chorus of clicks, whistles, and words in languages Jin Park could barely pronounce. At the center of the room stood Prime Minister Vextar of the Zorkan Empire. He was tall and covered in gray scales. His yellow eyes glowed with anger. 4 arms gestured wildly as he spoke. The translation device in Jin Park's ear turned Vextar's words into English. "The humans are a danger to us all," Vextar said. His voice was deep and harsh. "They spread across space like a disease. They take planets that should belong to older, wiser species." Jin Park sat in his assigned seat. The human section was small. Just 5 chairs in a corner. Earth controlled only 3 star systems. Most other species had hundreds. The Zorkan Empire alone ruled over 800 worlds. "Humans have been in space for only 50 years, continued Vextar. "They know nothing of galactic law or proper behavior. They build weapons when they should build temples. They explore when they should stay home." Murmurs of agreement came from many delegates. Jin Park noticed that species after species nodded their heads or made sounds that meant yes. Some looked at him with fear. Others seemed disgusted. Ambassador Kael'thon of the Centauri Federation raised one of his 6 arms. Vextar smiled, showing sharp white teeth. "Simple. Humans must give up their outer colonies. They can keep Earth and maybe one other world. The rest must be returned to proper galactic citizens." The chamber erupted in noise. Some delegates cheered. Others argued. Jin Park sat quietly, his hands folded in his lap. He watched and listened, but his face showed no emotion. "This is impossible," called out a delegate from the Andromedan Republic. "Humans have legal rights to those worlds. They colonized them fairly." "Rights?" Vextar laughed. The sound was like rocks grinding together. "What rights do children have when adults are speaking? Humans are babies playing with toys too dangerous for them." "What?" More voices joined the argument. Jin Park counted the delegates as they spoke. 37 species supported Vextar. Only 8 spoke for humanity. The math was simple and cruel. The council leader, an ancient being called the first speaker, raised his hand for silence. His voice was old and tired. "We will vote," he said. "All in favor of the Zorkan proposal?" Lights appeared above each delegate's seat. Jin Park watched as red lights filled the chamber. 39 species voted for the proposal. Only 6 voted against it. 3 stayed neutral. "The motion passes," said the first speaker. "Humans have 48 hours to comply. All outer colonies must be abandoned." Jin Park stood up slowly. The chamber fell silent. Every eye turned to look at him. He walked to the central platform, his footsteps echoing in the quiet space. "I understand your decision," Jin Park said. His voice was calm and steady. "I also understand your reasoning. You see humans as young and dangerous. You think we don't know our place in the galaxy." Vextar moved closer to Jin Park. Even standing on the platform, the human captain only reached the Zorkan's chest. "At least one of you has sense," Vextar said. "Will you surrender peacefully?" Jin Park smiled. It was a small, quiet smile. I need to speak with my government first. May I use the communication chamber? Of course, said the first speaker. You have 46 hours remaining. Jin Park bowed to the assembly and walked out of the chamber. In the hallway, Ambassador Kale Thon caught up with him. The Centauri's blue skin had turned pale with worry. Captain Park, Kelthon whispered. I must warn you of something. The Zorkan Empire has not told the whole truth. They have made secret alliances with 3 other major powers. The Hegemony, the Collective, and the Star Kingdom all support them. Jin Park stopped walking. How many ships? He asked quietly. At least 40,000, Kael'thon replied. Maybe more. They plan to attack if you refuse to surrender. Jin Park nodded slowly. Thank you for the warning, Ambassador. I will remember your kindness. And now, Jin Park and Nexton. Kael'thon looked confused by the human's calm reaction. Captain, do you understand? They have 40,000 ships. How many does Earth have? Last public count was about 200, Jin Park said. He was still smiling that small, quiet smile. Then you must surrender, Kael'thon said urgently. There is no shame in accepting impossible odds. Your people can live as subjects rather than die as rebels. Jin Park reached the communication chamber. He turned to face the worried alien ambassador. Ambassador Kael'thon, may I tell you something about humans? Of course. We have a saying on Earth. The most dangerous human is one who has nothing left to lose. But there's something even more dangerous than that. What? A human who is still trying to be reasonable. Jin Park entered the communication chamber and sealed the door. Inside the small room, he activated a device that looked nothing like standard Earth technology. The device hummed with hidden power as it sent his message across space. The message was short and simple. Condition 0. Authorization, Alpha 7. Execute, Protocol, Omega. Somewhere far away, on a world that called itself Earth, alarms began to sound. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room was dark, except for the glow of hundreds of screens. Officers moved quietly between workstations, their faces lit by the blue light of their displays. The message from Captain Jin Park appeared on the main screen. 3 simple phrases that changed everything. Chen had hoped she would never see those words. She had prayed for 50 years that this day would not come. Ma'am, said Commander Williams, her second in command. Should we begin the awakening? Chen nodded. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun. Her uniform bore no decorations, no medals. She had earned many honors in the old wars. But those conflicts were supposed to be forgotten. Send the signal to all hidden bases, she said. It's time to show the galaxy who we really are. Around the solar system, ancient machines began to wake up. Inside asteroid belts, huge shapes stirred to life. Hidden stations that looked like space rocks opened like flowers. Ships that had slept for decades powered up their engines. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched the awakening from her laboratory on Luna Base. Through the clear dome above her head, she could see Earth hanging in space like a blue jewel. But her attention was on the screens that showed what was really happening. How many are answering the call? She asked her assistant. All of them, Doctor. Every hidden base, every sleeping ship. The ghost fleets are coming home. Rodriguez smiled sadly. She was old enough to remember when humans first reached the stars. Back then, they had come in peace, hoping to find friends among the cosmic community. What they found instead was fear, jealousy, and hatred. The first human colony ships were attacked by pirates. The pirates expected easy prey. They found something very different. The colony ship New Hope destroyed an entire pirate fleet, using weapons that should not have existed. After that, the galaxy began to pay attention to the species from Earth. But humans had learned to hide their true strength. They showed the galaxy only merchant ships and exploration vessels. They built cities that looked peaceful and weak. Meanwhile, in secret places, they prepared for the war they hoped would never come. Admiral Chen's voice echoed through the command center. All station commanders, report status. One by one, voices answered from across the solar system. Ceres base online. 200 ships ready for deployment. Europa Station. Active. Ghost Fleet 7 prepared for combat. Saturn Ring, shipyards reporting. Manufacturing systems at full capacity. The numbers grew and grew. 500 ships. 2,000. 10,000. 20,000. Finally, the count stopped at over 100,000 vessels. Commander Williams stared at the display in amazement. "Ma'am, I knew we had reserves. But this, how did we build so many ships without anyone noticing?" Chen smiled grimly. "Humans are very good at keeping secrets, Commander. We've had 50 years to prepare for this day. Every asteroid mining operation was also a shipyard. Every scientific station was also a weapons laboratory. Every peaceful merchant was also a scout ship gathering intelligence." On the main screen, a map of the galaxy appeared. Red dots showed the positions of Zorkan fleets. Blue dots showed human ships. There were many more blue dots than anyone had imagined possible. Dr. Rodriguez joined the conference call from Luna Base. Her face appeared on one of the screens. "Admiral, the new weapons are ready for deployment. Our ships can now use adaptive combat systems. They learn and improve during each battle." "What about the stealth technology?" Chen asked. "Beyond anything the galaxy has seen," Rodriguez replied. "Our ships can hide in empty space. Their sensors will show nothing but vacuum where our fleets are waiting." Chen turned to her communications officer. "Open a channel to the Galactic Council. Full broadcast. All frequencies. I want every species in the galaxy to hear this message." The officer's hands moved over his controls. "Channel open, Admiral. You're broadcasting to over 1 billion worlds." Admiral Chen stepped forward, facing the main camera. Behind her, the displays showed the true strength of humanity. Thousands of ships moving through space, like schools of deadly fish. Weapons that could crack planets. Technology that made other species look like children playing with sticks. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command," she began. Her voice was calm, but carried the weight of absolute authority. 50 years ago, humans came to the stars in peace. We offered friendship, trade, and cooperation. Some of you welcomed us. Others saw us as weak prey. She paused, letting her words sink in across the galaxy. Today, the Zorkan Empire and their allies have declared war on humanity. They believe we are helpless children who will surrender at the first sign of force. They are mistaken. The camera zoomed in on Chen's face. Her eyes were hard as steel. "You want war? Then face annihilation. What you see as human weakness was actually human mercy. We chose to appear weak because we are strong enough to choose peace." Behind her, the display showed human ships decloaking around enemy fleets. Zorkan commanders across the galaxy suddenly found themselves outnumbered 3-1 by ships that had appeared from nowhere. "We are the children of Earth," Chen continued. "Our world made us what we are. Every species on our planet learned the same lesson. Adapt or die. We adapted. We learned to hunt in packs. We learned to use tools. We learned to plan and wait and strike at exactly the right moment." She gestured to the tactical display. "Look at your fleets, Zorkan Empire. Look at your allies. You are surrounded. You have been surrounded since the moment you entered our space. We have been watching you, learning your weaknesses, preparing for this day." The transmission showed split screens of Zorkan admirals receiving reports. Their scales had turned pale with fear. Some were already ordering their fleets to retreat. But it was too late. Human ships blocked every escape route. You called us children playing with dangerous toys, Chen said. You were right about one thing. We do play games. But our games are called war, and we have been playing them for thousands of years. We are very good at these games, Chen said. Also, she stepped closer to the camera. This is our final offer. You have 24 hours to withdraw all forces from human space and pay compensation for the worlds you threatened. If you refuse, we will show you why humans stopped fighting wars on Earth. We became too good at them. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, silence fell like a heavy blanket. Then, slowly, panic began to spread. The species that had seemed so weak, so helpless, had just revealed fangs. Admiral Corks of the Zorkan Third Fleet thought humans were bluffing. His 500 ships had surrounded Kepler Station, a small human outpost on the edge of known space. Only 50 human vessels defended the station. The math seemed simple. Begin the attack, Corks ordered. Show these humans what real warfare looks like. The Zorkan ships opened fire. Bright energy beams shot through space toward the human defenders. But something strange happened. The human ships seemed to dance between the weapon blasts. They moved in patterns that made no sense, like they knew where each shot would go before it was fired. Commander Lisa Kim watched the battle from the bridge of the human destroyer, Wolfpack. Her crew worked quietly at their stations. No one seemed worried, even though they were outnumbered 10-1. Analysis complete, reported her tactical officer. Enemy firing patterns identified. Uploading data to all ships. This was the secret of human warfare. Every ship was connected to every other ship. When one vessel learned something, they all learned it. When one captain discovered an enemy weakness, every human in the fleet knew it instantly. The Zorkan beams missed their targets again and again. The human ships moved like a school of fish, turning and diving as one creature. When they did fire back, their shots found their marks with perfect accuracy. What's happening? Admiral Corks demanded. Why can't we hit them? His weapons officer checked his instruments twice. Sir, our targeting systems are working perfectly. But the humans, they seem to know where we're going to shoot before we do. On the human ships, artificial intelligence systems were learning and adapting. Every Zorkan weapon pattern was analyzed and predicted. Every enemy movement was studied and countered. The humans had turned their greatest weakness into their greatest strength. They learned faster than any other species in the galaxy. Commander Kim smiled as she watched another Zorkan cruiser explode. Pack leader to all wolves, she said into her communicator. Begin hunting pattern Alpha. Remember, we're not trying to win a battle. We're teaching them why they should fear us. The human ships spread out and began to hunt. They didn't fight like other species, standing in neat lines and trading fire. They fought like the predators their world had made them. Some ships acted as scouts, finding weak spots in the enemy formation. Others were hunters, striking fast and hard before disappearing. The largest ships were killers, finishing off damaged enemies with ruthless efficiency. Admiral Corks watched in horror as his fleet fell apart. In 2 hours of fighting, he had lost 200 ships. The humans had lost only 5. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the fear spreading through his crews. Human transmissions were flooding his communication channels. They showed videos from Earth. Wolves hunting deer. Lions stalking zebras. Sharks circling schools of fish. A calm voice explained how humans had studied every predator on their world and learned from them. This is how we ended war on our planet, the voice said. We became so good at killing that we stopped wanting to kill. We learned that the best hunters are also the best protectors. On another channel, human children were singing songs about their planet's history. Songs about animals that could track prey across continents. Songs about creatures that never gave up, never stopped hunting until they found their target. The psychological warfare was working. Zorkon crews began to panic. Some ships tried to run away, only to find human vessels already waiting for them. Others surrendered without fighting, begging for mercy from the terrifying predators from Earth. Admiral Corks finally understood what he was facing. These weren't soldiers fighting a war. These were hunters playing with their prey. The humans could have destroyed his entire fleet in the first hour, but they chose not to. They wanted him to live, to go back and tell others what he had seen. All ships retreat, Corks ordered. Emergency jump to the home systems. Sir, his navigator reported, we can't leave. Human ships are blocking all jump points. On the main screen, Commander Kim's face appeared. She looked young and pleasant, like a teacher or a scientist. When she spoke, her voice was calm and friendly. Admiral Corks, this is Commander Kim. We don't want to destroy all of your ships. We want you to go home and tell your government what happened here. Can you do that for us? Corks nodded quickly. Yes. Yes. I can do that. Good. Kim smiled. We're going to let 3 of your ships leave. The rest will surrender and be treated well according to galactic law. Your crews will be returned home safely after the war is over. The Zorkan admiral felt confused. You're letting us go? Admiral. We're not monsters, Kim explained. We're humans. We know how to be merciful to enemies who surrender. But we also know how to be merciless to enemies who threaten innocent people. As if to prove her point, alarms began sounding on every ship in the system. New contacts were appearing on sensors. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Admiral, Kim continued. Your government made a mistake. They thought Earth only had 200 ships. They were wrong. We have been preparing for this war since the day we left our home world. Every human colony has shipyards. Every human merchant vessel carries weapons. Every human in space is ready to fight for our survival. And I won. And I won. And I won. And I won. The sensor displays showed the truth. Human fleets were appearing throughout Zorkan space. Not hundreds of ships, but tens of thousands. Hidden bases were revealing themselves. Cloaked vessels were dropping their stealth fields. The galaxy's weakest species had just shown they were actually the strongest. Go home, Admiral Corks, Commander Kim said gently. Tell your Prime Minister that we offered peace 50 years ago. We're offering it again now. But if he chooses war, he'll face something that hasn't been seen in the galaxy for 1,000,000 years. Number 4. 4-3. End all rate. End quote. What's that? Corks whispered. Kim's smile disappeared. Her young face became hard and cold. A species that evolved to be the perfect hunters. A species that learned to work together so well that they conquered their entire world. A species that chose to be peaceful because they were too dangerous to be anything else. The transmission ended. Admiral Corks's 3 ships jumped away from the battle zone, leaving behind the wreckage of his fleet and his pride. Behind them, human ships continued their deadly dance among the stars. Prime Minister Vextar stood in his war room, surrounded by holographic displays showing the collapse of his empire. Red lights marked the positions of his remaining fleets. Blue lights showed human forces. There were so many blue lights that they looked like stars in the night sky. Report, Vextar commanded, his 4 arms trembling with rage. General Takmor, his military commander, spoke with a voice full of despair. Sir, we've lost contact with 17 fleet groups. The humans have surrounded our remaining forces in the outer systems. 3 of our allied empires have withdrawn from the conflict. Cowards, Vextar hissed. What about our home defense fleet? 5,000 ships still protect Zorka Prime, Thakmor replied. But sir, the humans have over 20,000 vessels moving toward our home system. Through the great windows of his palace, Vextar could see his capital city. 12 billion Zorkan citizens lived on this world. They trusted him to protect them. He had promised them that humans were weak, that victory would be easy. The first human ships appeared at the edge of the Zorka system like ghosts materializing from the void. They moved in perfect formation, not attacking but simply taking positions around the planet. More ships arrived every hour, until the sky was full of them. Admiral Sarah Chen's voice came through the communication system. It echoed in every building on the planet. Citizens of Zorka Prime, this is Admiral Chen of Earth Defense Command. We have come to end this war, not to harm innocent people. Vextar activated his own transmitter. This is Prime Minister Vextar. I do not recognize human authority over Zorkan space. Leave our system immediately, or face destruction. Chen's reply was calm and patient. Prime Minister, your fleets are destroyed. Your allies have abandoned you. You cannot win this fight. But you can still save your people. Never. Vextar snarled. Zorkans do not surrender to inferior species. The blockade began immediately. No ships could leave Zorka Prime. No supplies could reach the planet. But the humans did something unexpected. They let medical ships through the blockade. They allowed food transports to deliver supplies to civilian populations. They even helped repair a damaged space station that housed Zorkan refugees. Dr. Elena Rodriguez explained the human strategy in a broadcast to the galaxy. We are not fighting the Zorkan people, she said. We are fighting their government's decision to start this war. Zorkan children did not choose to attack human colonies. Zorkan farmers did not vote to threaten our families. Meanwhile, the human fleet prepared for the final battle. Admiral Chen studied reports from her ship captains. The Zorkan home defense fleet was well-trained and desperate. They would fight to protect their world, even knowing they could not win. Admiral, reported Captain Torres from the flagship, Terra's shield. All fleets are in position. We have the enemy completely surrounded. Chen nodded. Begin the demonstration. A single human destroyer, the Persistence, moved toward the Zorkan defense line. It was alone, facing 1,000 enemy ships. The Zorkans opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams and missile swarms filled space around the little ship. The human vessel danced through the attack like it was choreographed. Its adaptive armor absorbed energy blasts. Its point defense systems destroyed every missile. When it finally returned fire, a single shot disabled the Zorkan flagship without killing anyone aboard. The message was clear. One human ship could defeat 1,000 Zorkan vessels without even trying to destroy them. What chance did the defenders have against 20,000? General Takmor turned to his prime minister. Sir, we cannot protect the planet. If we continue fighting, they will destroy every ship we have. Then our world will be completely defenseless. I don't care, Vextar shouted. Launch all ships. Attack with everything we have. Show these humans that Zorkans know how to die with honor. The final battle began at dawn on Zorka Prime. Every remaining Zorkan ship launched from the planet's surface and orbital stations. 5,000 vessels rose to meet the human fleet in what everyone knew would be their last fight. The humans did something that shocked every observer in the galaxy. They didn't use their overwhelming advantage to crush the Zorkan fleet. Instead, they fought like surgeons, disabling ships without destroying them. They targeted weapons and engines, leaving life support systems intact. When Zorkan pilots ejected from damaged ships, human rescue vessels picked them up immediately. Captain Jin Park watched the battle from his command ship. He had returned from the Galactic Council to see how this war would end. Status report, he requested. We've disabled 60% of the enemy fleet, reported his tactical officer. Human casualties. 12 ships damaged, none destroyed. Zorkan casualties. 0 deaths, approximately 2,000 wounded. Park nodded approvingly. Good. We're not here to commit genocide. We're here to end a war. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it was over, the entire Zorkan fleet was either captured or disabled. Not a single Zorkan sailor had died, though many were injured. Human medical ships immediately began treating the wounded, regardless of their species. In his palace, Prime Minister Vex's Tar stared at the displays in disbelief. His fleet was gone, but his people were alive. The humans could have killed everyone, but they chose mercy instead. A communication request came from Admiral Chen's ship. Vextar accepted it with shaking hands. Chen's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired, but not angry. Prime Minister, your military forces are defeated. Will you surrender now, or must we continue this pointless fighting? Vextar felt the weight of 12 billion lives on his shoulders. His pride wanted him to keep fighting, but his conscience knew better. What are your terms? He asked quietly. Simple, Chen replied. You will formally surrender and accept responsibility for starting this war. You will pay reparations to the human colonies you threatened. In return, we will help rebuild your fleets and your economy. We will share our technology and protect your people from other threats. You would help us? Vextar asked in confusion. After what I did? Chen smiled sadly. Prime Minister, humans understand something that most species forget. Wars end, but neighbors remain neighbors forever. We can choose to be enemies forever, or we can choose to become friends. Which future do you want for your children? Vextar looked out his window at the human ships surrounding his world. They could have turned his planet into ash, but instead, they had brought medical supplies and food for his people. He thought about his own children and what kind of galaxy he wanted them to inherit. I surrender, he said quietly. The Zorkan Empire formally surrenders to Earth and requests terms for peace. Around the galaxy, other species watched in amazement as the humans did something unprecedented. They had won a total victory against impossible odds, then offered friendship to their defeated enemies. 3 months after the war ended, the Galactic Council met again on Harmony Prime Station. The same chamber that had witnessed humanity's humiliation now saw something very different. Captain Jin Park sat in a new chair, much larger than before, marked with the symbol of the Galactic Security Council. The other delegates looked at him with new eyes. Some showed respect, others fear, but none showed the contempt they had displayed before. The human section was no longer a small corner of the chamber. It now occupied an entire section, with representatives from dozens of human colonies. Ambassador Kaelthon rose to address the assembly. His blue skin seemed brighter than before, and his voice carried new confidence. Fellow delegates, 3 months ago we witnessed the greatest military demonstration in galactic history. Today, we gather to discuss the new reality of our civilization. He gestured toward the human section. Humanity has proven they possess the most advanced military technology in known space. Their fleets could conquer any world, defeat any empire, destroy any threat. And yet, they have chosen something unprecedented. They have chosen peace. Great boss. Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. Former Prime Minister Vex Tar stood up slowly. The proud Zorkan leader looked different now. His scales had lost their gleaming shine, and his 4 arms moved with careful humility. I speak as one who learned the hardest lesson of all, Vextar said. I attacked what I thought was the weakest species in the galaxy. I discovered I had challenged the strongest. But strength without wisdom is just destruction. Humans possess both. He turned toward Jin Park. Captain Park, the Zorkan people offer formal apology for my actions. We also offer our eternal friendship to humanity and all species who choose the path of peace. Jin Park stood and bowed respectfully to Vex Tar. Former Prime Minister, your apology is accepted with gratitude. But more important than the past is the future we build together. Dr. Elena Rodriguez activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed star maps covering the entire galaxy. Blue dots marked human patrol routes. Green areas showed regions where human technology was being shared with peaceful species. The Human Protective Doctrine is now in effect, Rodriguez announced. Any species that chooses peace and cooperation will receive our protection and assistance. Any species that chooses aggression will face immediate intervention. The display showed recent examples. 3 different conflicts had been stopped by the simple appearance of human ships. Pirates had abandoned their raids. Border wars had ended in negotiated settlements. Criminal organizations had disbanded rather than face human justice. Admiral Sarah Chen appeared via communication link from her flagship. Behind her, the bridge showed a mix of human and alien officers working together. The galaxy has entered a new age, she declared. An age where strength serves peace, not conquest. She gestured to her mixed crew. Former enemies are now our closest allies. Zorkan engineers are helping us improve our defensive systems. Centauri scientists are working with human researchers to develop new medical technologies. Together, we are stronger than any of us could be alone. The first speaker, the ancient being who led the council, raised his hand for attention. Captain Park, the council has voted unanimously to create a new position. Will you accept the role of Galactic Peace Coordinator? Jin Park considered the offer carefully. It meant leaving his military career behind and dedicating his life to diplomacy and peacekeeping. But it also meant ensuring that no species would ever again face the choice between surrender and extinction. I accept, he said simply. But only if this position serves all species equally. Humans will not rule the galaxy. We will protect it. Cheers erupted throughout the chamber. Species that had been enemies for centuries began planning joint projects. Trade agreements were signed between former rivals. Scientific expeditions were organized to explore unknown regions of space. Commander Lisa Kim reported from the former war zone around Kepler Station. The battlefield has become a construction site, she announced. Human and Zorkan workers are building the galaxy's largest shipyard here. Not for weapons of war, but for ships of exploration and trade. The transformation was visible everywhere. Human military bases were opening their doors to alien visitors. Former Zorkan military officers were training alongside human peacekeepers. Children from dozens of species were attending schools together on human worlds. A young Zorkan student named Kix Ara stood to address the council. She had been chosen to represent the galaxy's youth in this historic session. Honored delegates, I speak for all young people in our galaxy. We do not want to inherit the hatred and fear of previous generations. We want to explore the stars together. She looked directly at Jin Park. Humans showed us that true strength comes from choosing peace when you could choose war. They taught us that the greatest victory is turning an enemy into a friend. We will remember this lesson forever. As the session continued, reports came in from across the galaxy. Crime rates were falling as human patrol ships made piracy unprofitable. Scientific discoveries were accelerating as species shared knowledge freely. Even the most isolated worlds were requesting membership in the new galactic community. Former Admiral Corks, the Zorkan officer who had lost the Battle of Kepler Station, was now working as a human military advisor. I lost everything in that battle, he explained to the council. My ships, my career, my pride. But I gained something more valuable. I learned what it means to be part of something greater than yourself. Jin Park walked to the central platform for his first address as peace coordinator. The chamber fell silent as every delegate focused on his words. 3 months ago, this council voted to force humanity into submission, he began. You saw us as children playing with dangerous toys. In a way, you were right. But the most dangerous humans are not the ones who want to fight. The most dangerous humans are the ones who are still trying to be reasonable. He smiled, the same quiet smile he had shown months earlier. We tried reason first. We offered friendship and cooperation. When that failed, we showed you why our ancestors conquered an entire planet. Now we offer something new. A galaxy where reason works, because everyone knows the cost of unreasonable behavior. The holographic display showed the future they were building together. Trade routes, protected by human fleets. Research stations staffed by scientists from every species. Colonies where different races lived and worked side by side in harmony. This is our choice, Jin Park concluded. We can build a galaxy based on fear, where the strong prey on the weak. Or we can build a galaxy based on hope, where strength protects the innocent. Humanity chooses hope. We invite you all to choose hope with us. The vote was unanimous. Every species, even those that had opposed humanity just months before, voted for the new Galactic Charter. The age of endless war was over. The age of protected peace had begun. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, Jin Park remained behind. He looked up at the stars visible through the great dome above, thinking about the journey that had brought them all to this moment. Somewhere out there, human ships were patrolling the space lanes. Former enemies were working together on peaceful projects. Children from dozens of worlds were growing up in safety. The galaxy had learned that the strongest predator could also be the gentlest protector. And in learning that lesson, they had all become something greater than they had ever been alone.